Hey traders, my weekend video. So I wanted to start with the volatility of the bond market, the VX of the TLT. So when this spikes, it tends to lead to selling pressure in the markets. We are at a very critical uh, inflection point right here, right now. As of Friday, we have broken out above trend on the TLT, the VIX of the TLT, so volatility of TLT. So I don't know what'll happen come next week, but this does suggest that we're going to have a very volatile week next week in the bond market. In that case, it's probably going to be negative for the overall markets. So be very mindful of that uh, going forward here. Now, I do have us, if you pull up the ZNs real quick here, should have had that up already. This is your bonds. So we did lose critical support. This is the area, the count and everything. We should have found support there, and we broke support there Friday. So the yields are just flying going into this election, and they don't necessarily have to come back down after the election. So they're getting quite nervous here with the policies. Both politicians are floating out there. Uh, I think what we'll see is a at least a relief rally if Harris gets in, but Trump, his plans and stuff are quite inflationary, so we could very well be revisiting these lows in the bond markets, uh, yeah, in a not so distant future if Trump were to be the incumbent president. So personally, I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see what happens. And this is coming from uh, a true and blue Republican. So I don't think Trump will get reelected. So we'll see what happens. I do think we'll probably see Wednesday morning. We will know who the president will be. So we'll see what happens. I think it's not going to be nearly as close this time as it was last time. So we'll see how it plays out. Okay. Slash ES. Okay, guys. So ES is right here. We broke, so I think of the markets as circuit breakers. So we broke a circuit breaker there Friday as we broke this wedge pattern. Okay. So, just be mindful of that. We have technically broken a circuit breaker. But so less bulls are going to be stepping up to the plate, knowing that they broke this circuit breaker. So every little dip in this wedge was getting bought. Okay, so now we would see less participation on the dip buying likely here, and we should start seeing a sustained bid in the VIX itself, the VX futures. So the VX futures here should start maintaining higher bids here, uh, 20 or higher here in the not so distant future. We should be hovering around the 1920 area at the very minimum uh, going forward here. So definitely keep this on watch. Basically, we know for a fact you need to hold over 1920, have a closing print over 1920 on the VX futures to contain the bearishness in the markets, in my opinion. So let's make sure we maintain like I said, above 1920ish is really important here for the VX futures, in my opinion. Okay. Other things I want to talk about here, just zoom in here real quick. We lost the 20 SMA on the daily moving average. We came down to the 50 SMA. Okay. And now we're right into the August anchored VWAP. So basically, we know August we slowed down really hard. Okay. And so technically, this could be a support area in the markets. We'll see how it is. This, you know, this has been supported before. We'll see if this holds out here. So we got to see, ideally, seeing the markets gap down like Monday morning. That would give us a really good clue of which direction they want to take the market. Makes it much harder if we're digesting sideways here on first thing Monday morning. So heads up on that. Our major support, though, our major support is way down here at 56.50. So, ideally, that's where we want to head here, around the 56.50 area, in my opinion. That gets you to our weekly 20 SMA. So be very mindful of that. We have found a lot of support buying at the weekly 20. So in this corrective phase, we're really looking for a back test of the weekly 20 SMA as a primary back test. So you know it's most likely rallies will be faded until we get down to there, in my opinion. So, and remember, during election years, this time frame, you're looking between a 3 and 7% drawdown historically, given the current climate. Okay, we haven't gotten a 3% drawdown yet on ESs, so that suggests there is still some more fuel in the tank to the downside. And given the geopolitical climate and everything going on, it does make sense that they might want to draw this down a lot further than normal. We got basic, conflicts on 3 different fronts going on right now. On the military front, we're potentially going to have the first woman ever as a president. Both of them have inflationary policies which they want to implement. Whenever they go back into government, and the bond markets are telling us flat out that they're nervous going. Both candidates are getting the bond markets nervous going into the new administration. So be very mindful of all this stuff. And we have lost the October anchored VWAP. We closed right at it there Friday on ESs. So we technically are coming in Monday morning. If we're not gapping up, uh, we're losing October support, technically kicking off Monday. So that's why it's likely that we're gapping down Monday morning as they, so let's see how it works. If they're gapping up Monday morning, uh, we just might want to sit on the sidelines. Gap down though early Monday morning might be something to be adding longer term shorts, losing that October support early on Monday morning. So be very mindful of that. Slash NQ. Oh, let's see, is there another way of looking at this? That's the blank one. Okay, guys. So another way of looking at the ES futures right here. Okay. So sorry. Excuse me. So basically, we're kind of between anchored VWAPs. Okay. I got weekly anchored VWAPs right here. Okay. That we have a critical support down here using anchor VWAP. That also puts us at 5650. So you notice this is 5650, and if I go back to my other chart, blank, this is 5650 using a 20 SMA. So I'm getting two completely different ways of looking at the market, suggesting we're heading back down to 5650. So be very mindful of this. This wedge is based off August 1st anchored VWAP, and I've drawn a wedge. This is the current anchored VWAP from August 1st. Okay, and this one here I got that's September 1st, I think. Yeah. Okay. But this wedge is based off, that is the current anchored VWAP for August 1st. So coming back down to that, testing that is very likely. That's also a range high. So you got two things suggesting that could be a support right there if we were to continue to sell down. And like I said, the moving averages, that's right where the 20 SMA is sitting too. On the weekly 20 SMA is sitting right here too, which is a very critical backtest area. So a lot of things saying to me that I'd much rather be trading towards 5650 than I would be trying to do the long side. So I'm looking for strategic shorts. If we come back up to the 97, 95 or so Monday for some reason, I'd be looking for the short. I mean, honestly, and we'll see how it plays out. Okay. Okay, let me zoom in here real quick. Anchored VWAP wall. So I'm starting with the anchored VWAP here. Uh, so we didn't break below this, okay? So this here is the anchored VWAP wall. We look below over here, okay? but we haven't looked below yet. So this is actually uh, green. Sorry, there you go. So that's actually green. This is by the dip, technically for NQs going into next week. So that's why I wasn't taking directional trades, because based off of my charting, it was still technically by the dip, uh, potentially by the dip going into next week. So we were seeing a little bit more relative strength after Amazon and after Amazon came out in the tech land. I am seeing a potential for us to be coming down to the 19,655. So heads up on that. 19,655 would be my downside target. Okay. Let me see if I can see if there's another view. So we do have some inventory to get through here. We had the daily 5 SMA at this price level, and we had the weekly 20 SMA. So we do have quite a bit of moving average support right in this zone right here. So be mindful of that. That suggests that we're probably just not going to fall right out of bed in Techland. Uh, what we have to look out for now going into next week is starting to see new ratings coming out from the ratings agencies. So let's definitely keep this one in the back of our mind. To drive this lower, that's probably going to be a driving force to the downside if that were to happen. We do have an island reversal, which that tends to be a very bearish signal in a market, getting an island reversal. So basically, we gapped up, put in some heavy trading up here, and up in this area we had some heavy uh, dark pool trading. There were some big orders hitting up in this island, and then all of a sudden the island just completely broke down, and we came straight down. Okay, guys, so this is what you call an island reversal in the markets, and it really not good. It's not good for the overall market when you have reversals like that. So be very mindful of that. Okay. I can't remember what the primary is on this one here. Oh yeah, let me go out here. The critical level, all the way down here, 17,350. 17,350. That is our critical level. Let's see right here, 17,350. That's our critical support down here. That would completely retrace this entire move since August. Take us right back down there. That would be our very, very critical support if that were to happen. Another one would be, so you got the double bottom right here. This is also another critical area right here. And that's that prior high right there. And that would put us about 18,600 area. 18,600 would be a very critical area here for a back test as well. So heads up on that. That would actually put us below the daily 200 SMA also in that theory. So be quite mindful of that. So we do have some massive monthly negative divergences happening in the NQs. So be very mindful of that on the monthly. I mean, the momentum to get us up into this area is just drying up, suggesting this could be a violent correction down if and when the bow finally breaks. So heads up on that. Okay, if you look at your Russell here, here's your September anchored VWAP. I would say a closing print under 2213 is probably giving you a signal to go short. So heads up on that. 2213 is probably giving you a signal to go short. So heads up. Our critical support is putting us all the way down here at the 2080. That's our critical support. So heads up on that. That's slightly below the 200-day moving average. So just a few things to think about there. Okay. Diamonds did come down, and we did tag last week very critical support, and we still, which we have resistance above us, which failed. Okay, we're below, we're right at the September anchored VWAP. Okay, which this looks like a continuation pattern to the downside. So be very mindful of that. If we lose last week's lows, it could get ugly, people. Ugly. Because our anchored VWAPs, we had this massive move up from there on the diamonds. and it's not supported. So if we lose next week's lows, I mean, I'm telling you, the diamonds can go, and they can go fast. So the SMH is still holding October supports. Heads up on that right there. So we came down last Thursday. We opened right on October support. Okay, they came down a little bit more. They rallied, and or we closed right on, not open, closed right on October support, gapped up and rallied the very next day. So they're trying to save October support for the SMH so far here. Okay, guys. Apple, heads up on that. Another thing that I want to point out here. This here, this here represents the August anchored view, August 1st anchored view out where it started. We came right down to that Friday morning. That's where we opened. They saved it right off that critical August 1st anchored view app. So that's a 2-month support. That's a 2-month support that we came right off on Apple. Now remember, Apple and Microsoft, they held up on the August sell down, okay? And other parts of the NASDAQ, like NVIDIA, brought the markets down, okay? And now we're seeing Apple and Microsoft showing relative weakness versus everything else on the NASDAQ. So be mindful of that. We're seeing that, and knowing that they are 2 of the 3 biggest companies in the world, that's not good. And NVIDIA hasn't reported yet. So just be very mindful of this, what's happening here. When the big boys are starting to show the most weakness, we have to stand back and start paying, uh-oh, what's going on here? Okay? So heads up on that. We did find very critical support there Friday. So basically, we know that Friday is a very important day. If Apple comes back down and starts losing Friday's open, we want to be short. Okay, guys? Microsoft, we've had a clearly defined head and shoulders here on Microsoft. The earnings are out, and this is even showing a lot more weakness here, guys. See where we closed? This is the August 1st anchored VWAP. We closed almost dead on that anchored VWAP, almost dead on. Bottom line is, guys, if we even break Friday's lows, low print, I mean, you got to start pushing to the short side here. This could get, see, this could get ugly quick. So be very mindful of that. We have an island reversal right here. That's an island top reversal at the end of a head and shoulders thing. This could get ugly. I mean, so be very mindful here. And if this breaks, this could come down hard. I mean, so basically your head and shoulders, I don't know, where should I draw it here? Head extension, I'd say right here. Okay, being conservative, I'll anchor it right here. Okay, guys? That's a conservative view. If that's the case, we're targeting 340. So we're currently at 410. We're targeting 340. That's a conservative, estimate. I can actually anchor it all the way down here if I want, and that would really put us down all the way down to 300. That's going to put us awfully close to 300. If I anchor down here, that would put us down to close to 300 if that were the case. So be very mindful of what's happening here on Microsoft. This is not a very good pattern setting up here. So heads up on that. So we're right on the October anchored VWAP. So basically, we're starting a brand new month, November. Okay, it doesn't take much of any lower here on NVIDIA to start losing our October trend. So be very mindful of that. Doesn't take much at all. I mean, so I have basically 134.46. I'm going to get alerted. Hey, I might want to start looking short on this beast. 134.46. I might actually start looking to be taking some shorts on NVIDIA. So be very mindful of that. What's going on here on NVIDIA. And we're in this really see this wide area. This is where our weekly anchored VWAPs have been hitting. So we had a massive, short squeeze to take us up into this area. We don't have support in this area. So when it comes down, it can come down hard. So we got two back-to-back massive gaps. This is a 2 week, short squeeze we had going on here. This is not supported. Okay, this can come down hard. So, I mean, we can be back down to 118 in a heartbeat. So, heads up, people. AMD, this is one of the worst semis out there. Yeah, I don't see any reason why it's not going to be coming back down to the August anchored VWAP. That'd be 134. Have no reason not to think that. Tesla, it's another one here. Uh, so we have already come down to the October 1st anchored VWAP. So bottom line is this is a must hold for the bulls. So we came right into critical support Friday as a must hold. I don't want to be coming in Monday morning seeing Tesla gapping down. This thing here should have an early bid for Monday morning. So heads up on that for you bulls out there. This is the ones you want to be looking at. This thing should be turning bullish immediately Monday morning. Google. It has not come back down into the October 1st anchored VWAP or the anchored VWAP itself. Could still have some downside risk here, so be very mindful of that. Meta. So here's another one. So we lost October's. Okay, this is your September. Oh, I'm sorry, this is your September anchored VWAP. So we're right back into September's anchored VWAP, and we've tested it. Okay, so let's definitely keep a watch on this here. It hasn't broken yet. You can put an alert, which I have an alert here. If we start breaking these lows, then I want to be going short as we break the September anchored VWAP. I want to be going short on this one in that scenario because the earnings are behind us. Amazon's up in a land of its own, so it's hard to say what they're going to do here. We had good earnings and stuff, so I just don't know. So just be very mindful of that going forward. Amazon's not one that I would suggest loading a boat short, so but be very careful on that. So that's pretty much what's summing up some things I'm looking at right here. Let me check if there's any other things real quick. Industrials look like they're ready to break. Be careful, guys. Materials are breaking. That looks like a breakdown pattern. We should see continuation, strong continuation to the downside on our materials. We are starting to see some rotation back into the healthcare. I actually called that, I called that as potentially a low coming in on this candle right here. This candle right here, I was calling out a possible relief rally here in the healthcare. That's kind of amazing too. Utilities are just getting spanked, people. They are just getting spanked. I mean, they're coming out of them in a quick and heavy way here. Other things, XLY. This is worrying me a little bit here. See how we put this top end stuff? XLY to me looks, it's heavily loaded with Amazon, so it's going to do a lot depending on Amazon. So let's definitely keep this on watch here. We're at that phase in the market, going into Christmas and everything. So we'll definitely keep this one on watch. So heads up on that. It did close pretty good there on Friday. XLK. XLK, we're right at this trend support. So yeah, major trend support. So we're right there. So we haven't broken it yet, but it's getting close. So bottom line is we got some circuit breakers that are hitting the market, turning off a lot of the bullish sentiment in the markets. Same way with the Qs here. The Qs are breaking the uptrend. So we do have a few. We're breaking some some critical simple moving averages. We're breaking some critical uptrends. It's not the end of the world yet, but we do see at the very least expansion of range at the tops here after seeing some massive dark pool trades hitting the markets before the election hits the markets. So just be very mindful of that. going in ahead in your trading here. Okay. So please like my video if you get a chance. Retweet me on Twitter, Gumby9662C. And if you get a chance on YouTube, leave some comments below of stuff you're seeing. Opportunities maybe that I've overlooked. I have my core names that I try to stick with. These are my core names. I try to stick with these tickers. I mean, I try not to deviate from them too hard here. So, um, but if you guys see something with any of these core names, please, core tickers, let me know. And I really appreciate the feedback. But bottom line is, in my opinion, if you're a bear, Apple and Microsoft have to be on your chart all the time right here. Because I have a feeling they will be the ones breaking this down. So those are the number one things to be watching going forward here, in my opinion. Thanks a lot.